Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to talk about Apple completely banning Alex Jones, live streaming your podcast to Twitter now, microphones not really mattering, and a whole lot more, so go ahead and stick around. Yo! Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome back to episode 135 of the BSP. My name is Bandrew. This is What I Says. Like always, there are timestamps down below so you can skip around and save a couple of minutes. But if you got the time, I'd suggest listening to the entire episode. One quick announcement. If you do want any of the backlog of this podcast, if you want to read the show notes or see any of that stuff, you can find it at bandrewsays.com. And if you have any thoughts about what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see improved on this podcast, go ahead and send that feedback to me on Twitter at BandrewSays. Let's jump right into the news now. And the first thing is the most controversial story in this episode. Apple has permanently banned the InfoWars app. So last month, you may remember that Apple banned most of InfoWars' podcasts from their podcast directory, which for any podcaster is a death blow because so many different apps pull their feeds from the iTunes podcast directory that getting removed from that is a very serious hit to your audience reach. It is very bad for you because nobody's going to be able to find you in their podcast directory. However, with this being done, you were still able to download the InfoWars app from the iOS App Store. But not anymore, says Apple. Not anymore, says Apple. And this last week, Apple removed the app, stating that you can't have an app that contains content that is offensive, insensitive, upsetting, intended to disgust, or is exceptionally in poor taste. That's interesting. My question would be, how is Twitter still available on the iOS App Store? How is Facebook still available in the iOS App Store? How is YouTube still available in the iOS App Store? If those are the criteria for getting banned, how are any apps on there that are social media focused? It makes no sense. Sure, the content that is controversial or offensive or insensitive or meant to disgust is by the users of that service, but clearly these companies aren't doing their job quickly enough to censor all that out. So how are those apps still there? Now, I hate that I am having to talk about this because I honestly could not care less about Alex Jones. What I do care about is these companies essentially babysitting for us, thinking, oh, this little fella doesn't know what's right and what's wrong, so we're going to have to make the decisions for him. I don't like that, which is what it seems it's coming to. All these social media companies, all these platforms, all these ecosystems saying, oh, you know what? These dumb folks out there buying our products and using our services don't have the mental well-being, the mental state to decide what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, what's correct, what's incorrect. So we're going to make that decision and that distinction for them. That's what really bothers me about all of this stuff that's going on right now. Now, in my Twitch stream yesterday, which was Saturday, September 8th, in case you're listening at a future date, I brought this up and somebody mentioned that they understood or supported the ban of Alex Jones because his words have led people to commit acts of violence. And I'm sure what they were referring to was the whole Pizzagate scandal where he said something about a child sex ring in a pizza dungeon or something. And I shouldn't be laughing about it because it is serious, but some guy showed up with a gun and shot up the place. I don't know if anybody died, but I'm sure that's one of the main stories that somebody was focusing on. But that goes back to the question that I posed a few weeks ago, where is the content creator or the person speaking held responsible for somebody misinterpreting their words just because they're a crazy person? I am not sure what the answer is there because, as I pointed out in that episode, if I say I hate mushrooms and I don't trust anybody who likes mushrooms, and somebody decides to go out and beat up people who eat mushrooms on their pizza, am I held responsible for that? Or if I say, I'm not going to go down that road because that could be misconstrued, taken out of context. We're going to take a step back. That's the question I want to pose to you guys again. Is a content creator held responsible for people who are insane, misinterpreting their words and going further? Now, I do understand that Alex Jones does play on people's emotions and he is quite a bit more hyperbolic than I. But the question still stands. Is he held responsible for all the people who are crazy and misinterpret what he says and use that as justification to commit acts that they clearly already wanted to commit? I don't think anybody is just sitting there thinking, oh, I just love eating pizza. Wait, what did Alex Jones say? Oh, I'm going to become a crazy person and commit acts of violence. I don't think that happens. I think the people who follow through with these acts of violence are just looking for a reason to do so. I don't think it's something that somebody says that motivates them to do it. So I think I've burned every bridge by now, so let's move on to the next story. And that would be Twitter permanently bans Alex Jones. Let's jump from one controversial topic to another. So not only did Apple ban Alex Jones, but so did Twitter. I got nothing else to say here. I got nothing else to say. I just think, I don't know what to think. I'm just gonna leave it there. You know, Twitter banned Alex Jones too. There it is. Let's jump to some good Twitter news though. Twitter launches live audio only broadcasts. So now on Twitter on the iOS app, you have the option to broadcast through Periscope as audio only. So when you click go live, when you go to the composed tweet section, there is now a microphone button that you can hit to enable an audio only broadcast. And this morning, I did a very quick test on the Creator Case Pod Twitter page, and it generates the audio only waves. It looks really nice. And right here, I'll actually cut to a sample of that so you can, if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see what visuals you'll be getting, or you can just hear what the audio quality is like. So let's jump to that right now. Okay, we are now live. I am just doing a very quick test of the new Periscope audio only broadcast. I don't think anybody's going to jump in. I just want to go ahead and see what the playback is like, what all this looks like when I'm done, how the audio quality is, to see if it would be viable for podcasters to do the live streaming. So I honestly, like I said, I really like the visuals that show up. It shows the audio signal in the back. It has a little circular wave generator thing. It's really cool looking. Now, it's not the highest quality graphics, but the audio does sound pretty good as well. And in the past, I've had issues with buffering when you first start watching a live stream on Twitter or anything, and it gets really, really bad. I didn't run into that issue with this very quick 1-minute test. So, but if you do want to see the entire thing or hear the entire thing, just go over to twitter.com/creatorcasepod. It's over there. Now, the reason I am sharing this is for podcasters, I think this may be a really good option to live stream to another place. And I am looking at two podcasters in particular, Steve and Bandrew and Stargate Pioneer. Come on, get on it, man. But of course, in that case, you would need to output your mix from a mixer or your computer or through audio hijack or loopback. So you're routing all your audio signals, your host audio, your guest audio, your soundboard audio to an output, then running that into a dongle for your iPhone. It would get very convoluted very quickly. But if you're just somebody who is a solo podcaster like me, this may be a rather good option to go ahead and just get easily onto the platform. So what I used this morning was a Rode Video Mic Me L. Full disclosure, this was sent to me by Rode. I'm going to be doing a review on it, but it sounded pretty good. So I could just throw the iPhone right up on a microphone stand or a tripod and have this microphone pointed at my mouth. I wouldn't need to route any audio, and it would be a very easy way to do that. I'm not going to recommend people podcast and just go to Twitter. I'm going to recommend you still have your RSS feed and everything. This will just be a bonus if you want to very easily get some live integration and get some live communication and interaction with your audience. And I'll end the Twitter news there. Now we got a couple of pieces of Amazon news. The first is there is going to be a new Fire HD 8 tablet. So Amazon updated the $80 tablet, and it's not going to come out until October 4th. So right now it is still in pre-orders, but the new feature in this is the hands-free A-word, ALEXA, and show mode. So it's really a extremely cheap way to get into the Amazon Echo Show territory. The Echo Show is something like $230. You're getting the exact same functionality here, but for $80. Now the speakers suck compared to the Echo Show, I am guessing. because the HD8 speakers do suck really bad. It doesn't have the microphone array, so it probably won't be as accurate in picking up your voice and voice detection. But to just test it out, see if you like that before you drop $230, I think it's a pretty good deal. But that is the main difference here, that just the always listening ALEXA, which I'm not going to say because, and I'm not going to pick this up or turn on always on ALEXA because that's creepy. I don't trust them. So this is something that is not going to be good for a power user for tablets. This is not for you. It has a low-res screen, it has a low-end processor, but for basic media consumption, I think it is a very great and cheap way to get into that. I have the 7th gen HD8, and for audiobooks or basic Kindle uses or YouTube viewing or Amazon watching videos, any of those things, it works really well considering it's $80. Like I said, the speakers do suck, but it still has that headphone jack. So until they kill that, which I don't think they ever will because that's probably so much cheaper than throwing in a Bluetooth antenna, I think we're good. And you can throw in your headphones and all that. So for now, if you want to use hands-free A-Word for $80, I don't think it could go wrong. And like I said, start shipping October 8th. This next story, it's going to sound like an ad. It is not, but I will throw an affiliate link down below. So Audible is going to be giving you 2 free Audible original books per month. So with the membership, you get X number of credits per month, depending on the level or the plan that you sign up for. And that allows you to get any audiobook in the Audible library. These 2 free books do not count towards those whatever number of credits that you have. They just say, hey, here are 6 options for Audible originals. You can select 2 of them for free. And the reason I am sharing this and giving you a link down below is because one of them this month is X-Files Cold Cases, which I paid for a couple of months ago, and it is really cool. It is a full cast performance going through different cases. I think there's 4 of them in this. It has Gillian Anderson, it has David Duchovny, it has Mitch Pileggi, it has the entire X-Files cast, and it is so cool. So if you do want to pick this up, I will throw an affiliate link down below for an Audible trial, and this one gives you 2 free credits for any book out there. And I'm assuming with this trial for the first month, you will get the 2 free Audible originals. So you can also get that X-Files book. And then you could buy the 2 X-Files case study books. So there's I think there's 2 more books that have 20 stories each. So you'd be getting 44, 48, 50 X-Files stories for free. And then before the month ends, just cancel it. How awesome is that? So I'll throw that link down below. Again, not an advertisement, but that is an affiliate link. Now, let's jump to TV and movies of the week. Tales from the Crypt. Season 1 was on sale for $5 on iTunes. Maybe I'll throw an affiliate link for that too, since this is the affiliate marketing podcast now. God, I feel like such a shill. But I bought it for $5 on iTunes. I'd never seen it before, and my God, it was awesome. So I wanted to watch season 2, but on iTunes, it got to be pretty expensive. It was $20 for each season consecutively. And I said, no, I'm not going to spend that much money. So I jumped onto eBay. I found the entire series run on DVD for $30 or something. So I bought it, and I just finished up season 2, and it is such a fun show. It's very campy, very goofy. It does have some very spooky episodes, but it's not going to be what you expect nowadays out of a horror film or anything. It is very campy and goofy. But if you do want some goofy stuff like that, I would highly recommend it. And while I was watching this, it made me question, why are there no good horror anthology series out there right now? And I'm not saying go ahead and start an anthology series with 24 episodes a year. That's not going to work because those episodes will inevitably be bad because it's very difficult to make an episode of television, let alone 24 that are good. So if they just did 10 or 13 per year, I think that could be very successful because I posed this question in Discord or something, and somebody came back with the closest that I can think of would be American Horror Story, where each season is a standalone story rather than each episode is a standalone story. So I'll go ahead and throw the affiliate link down below if it is still $5. If it's not, I'm not going to throw it down below because it's too expensive. Now let's jump to what you had to say. And this first one is a comment from the Podcastage YouTube channel, actually. And I did respond to this, but I want to share it with you here because I think it's important to talk about. But I am going to blur the guy's name. I don't want him getting credit. I don't want him selling you stuff. And that's going to piss him off. It's going to piss him off a lot. But let me go ahead and read this for you, what he had to say. It doesn't actually matter what kind of mic you're using. For the most part, the people who care are the people who spent the money on their equipment, but still don't feel like they got what they paid for. So they go out looking for something better. Meanwhile, there are people using $50 mics who don't care and just produce content and grow their business regardless. One of the biggest challenges to getting started is all the garbage floating around, from SEO tactics to how to create video, thumbnail, or God knows what else, the right way, to comparing X review to Y review, to realizing that online reviews are not that thorough and you never seem to get what you expect. Just forget all of that. Get what you need, record, set up your website, set up your product page, improve as you learn and grow. If you sit and watch 100 different microphone reviews and try to debate whether the Yeti is worthwhile or whether you should pay $1,000 for a pro setup, you're just not going to be getting anything done, and you're going to waste a lot of money. So first off, Person X, how dare you? How dare you imply that my channel is not the greatest thing ever? How dare you? Oh my God, but I disagree with quite a few things that you said here, but I do agree with you on some points, and I will point those out right now. No pun intended. Some people do use their gear search as an excuse to not create content. So if you are somebody who is saying, I can't create because I don't have that $1,000 audio setup, I can't create because I don't have that $10,000 microphone, stop. Just stop searching, use the gear that you have, start creating. Even if you don't have any gear, if you have your phone, start creating. There's nothing holding you back from doing that. I agree with you on that point. But for everyone, not everyone is making a business. Not everybody is making a marketing class trying to get people to buy it from them. That's quite an assumption that you make. Oh, every creator should just start their business and start their product page and start growing that way. That's quite an assumption that you make there. So stating that something is worthless because you don't enjoy it or it doesn't fit into your personal use case, that seems a little bit silly to me. I'm not going to go out and say, oh, all gaming videos are stupid. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your money. Why do you want to make that content? Just because I don't care for it, I'm not going to talk down to people who enjoy it or make it. That's stupid. That's a stupid way. It's a waste of your time and energy. Maybe responding to this is a waste of my time and energy. I don't care. I got to fill this podcast up. So let's jump to actually what I wanted to talk about with this. Do microphones matter? I'm going to go ahead and give you a very controversial answer and say, for the most part, no, they don't matter. And why I say that is, as long as your audio is not painful to listen to and it's not so bad that it's distracting, the microphone is not going to matter for the majority of your audience. Very few people are going to be listening or watching and say, oh my God, I'm so glad that Bandrew spent $1,000 on a microphone because that's so much better sounding. Nobody's comparing your videos A-B. They're just listening from episode to episode or from video to video. They really very rarely care about your audio quality. So in that sense, no, microphones don't matter as long as your audio is decent enough to not distract from what you're trying to convey in your podcast or in your video. However, it is for the creator striving to create the highest quality podcast or highest production quality that they can and offer the best experience for their viewer or listener, even if the listener does not notice. That's something that I personally do. I've made a lot of minor changes in the background of my production, and I do share it because I think there's some value in that. But I don't think if anybody were to just jump in, they'd say, oh my God, that minor change to the compression that he did last week really made this a better experience for me. But in my opinion, it is making an ultimately better experience for the listener. So in your scenario, I guess what we should be seeing is every single talk show, every single film production should just be using a blue Yeti on the end of a boom arm. I can imagine that. Alan, I know you're just freaking out right now. Just imagine using a blue Yeti on the end of a boom arm. But I did want to point that out. Microphones don't really matter It is good to try to provide your listener and your viewer the best experience, and there's nothing wrong with being an audiophile and enjoying it. I think that's another thing that this commenter completely ignored. There's such a large group of people who love audio and get so much fun out of researching different audio gear and find, oh, that sounds really neat how they voiced that one, or how they changed the specs for this upgraded version. There's a lot of fun stuff there. So saying, oh, this is such a dumb hobby, you're an idiot for liking it, get out of town. But now, on to the point that watching reviews is a waste of time. That's just nonsense, man. You're such a dope. That is such a dumb thing to say. Do I recommend someone watches 100 of my videos? No, don't watch 100 of my videos. That would be a waste of your time. But if someone saves money for months just mowing lawns, earning $4 or $5 a pop, and they finally save up to get a microphone so they can start making their videos, oh my God, I'm so excited. I have $100. I can finally go buy a microphone. Why would you imply that it's stupid to go watch people's reviews of products, read reviews on Amazon, read reviews on Best Buy, and find, oh, well, you know what? This product I was going to buy is a waste of my money. It's a Razer microphone, so I would have spent all my money, been very disappointed, and my audio quality would have been painful to listen to. I don't think there is anything wrong with somebody having some hard-earned money, knowing that this is going to be one of their only purchases, and saying, I'm going to research it to make sure I am getting the best for my money, so I don't end up getting screwed. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That is such a silly thing to imply. Oh, if you watch a bunch of reviews, it's a waste of your time. Just go make your product page and sell stuff. What a dumb thing to say. I'm done. I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting your time. And I'm giving this dope time that he doesn't deserve. And I'm sure he's going to comment on this, so whatever. Next comment comes from Up All Night. It's not so much that I hate the way the Sennheiser sound. It's that for $900, you're getting a mic that is audibly no better than a $50 Shure. The law of diminishing returns kicks in really early for dynamic mics. See the cult of the Q2U. So I'm going to go ahead and agree with you here. I think you are 100% right. But also, I think that this microphone in particular has a very specific use case. And voiceovers in a studio is not going to be it. Because I've been back and forth about whether I like it or not the last few weeks. I've been very on the fence about it. But let me explain what I mean. This is a super cardioid microphone, so it's going to be likely better for live environments where you're concerned with bleed on the stage. And it does give you a much flatter sound compared to a lot, if not all, dynamic microphones for stage use. Most dynamic stage mics have a big presence boost. So you're getting that very present, very poppy sound. What if you don't want that? Are you going to carry an SM7B on stage? It's not going to do the best with eliminating bleed between all the stage instruments, so this may be one of your only options to get that flatter, more neutral sound in a stage environment. And I think that's really where it probably would excel. I'm not the biggest fan of this for studio use. I still love the SM7B. I compared it right before I started this, and I wanted to use the SM7B. But I do agree with you there. There is a specific CZ Daniel in the comments section. He is suggesting that I may have a knockoff or a faulty unit. I don't think I do. I bought this from Sweetwater, so I think it would be correct. It wouldn't be a knockoff. It would be purchased directly from Sennheiser, but it's possible. Maybe when I am done testing this next week, I'll ship it back to Sennheiser, have them look it over, make sure it's not a faulty unit, and then get it back. And then if it's a perfectly fine unit, then I just wasted $100 or $200, however much it would cost. So I agree with you. Absolutely. Law of diminishing returns, and maybe not the best sounding microphone for a lot of use cases. And the last comment comes from Sergeant Hippie Cat. Ad block just skips ads. No black screen or anything. Thank you for that. I appreciate you sharing that. That is shocking to me that YouTube allows you to skip ads so easily. I'm surprised that it is so easy. I should point out, I don't support that. I don't support people using ad block unless you whitelist the creators that you like and want to support, because that is a big revenue source for a lot of creators. And I'll end it there. Now let's jump to my favorite part of the podcast, the Ask Bandrew segment. All right, so if you guys got any questions, go ahead and send them to askbandrew@gmail.com, and I will answer them on an upcoming episode of the podcast. First email comes from Tim. He says, "Hi, Bandrew. While I'm sure you will talk about this, I was wondering if you had seen the news stories about the Yeti Nano. I don't think having the cheaper Nano as the first product to launch under the Logitech flag bodes well for the Blue brand. Thanks, Tim." So Tim, I've seen quite a few comments like this, and I somewhat disagree. I will simply state that I don't think Logitech really had any input or any hand in the launch of the Blue Yeti Nano. Now, the acquisition was announced July 2018, and yes, there probably was a year or two of negotiation between Logitech and Blue, so there's a possibility that Logitech motivated Blue to launch this smaller, cheaper version of the Blue Yeti. But I personally think this was likely a solely Blue endeavor, as it probably takes more than a year to design, update a product, manufacture it, and get it shipped out, get marketing, get everything ready. So I don't think Logitech was directly motivating them to do this. Additionally, the Yeti was released 9 years ago. I actually went out and found a page on prosoundweb.com, and I'll link it in the description. It was from November 2009, and they were talking about the announcement of the Blue Yeti, the first THX microphone, THX certified microphone, which I doubt they'll be able to get anymore because THX is owned by Razer. But in 2009, it was the very first THX certified USB microphone. So I think we will ultimately end up seeing an updated Blue Yeti soon, because there's only a $30 price difference between the Blue Yeti Nano and the Yeti. And typically the Blue Yeti goes on sale for $90. So I think we will see an updated Blue Yeti with an updated analog to digital converter and D to A converter, maybe improved preamps, any number of things. Maybe a simplified interface, have that software interface as well. I think we will likely see that in the future. So thank you very much for that email, Tim. I disagree with you on who made Blue do that. The next email comes from Alan, aka Soundspeeds on YouTube. Soundspeeds. So his email says, "It really makes me smile when I hear mic reviews, like your recent review of the Rode Broadcaster, which was inspiration for this question, containing words like boxy, boomy, and airy. I understand it, but not everybody does. Funny that those words are great at painting an auditory picture to some, but to others, it confuses and causes a momentary brain lag where information is lost. Would you be able to go down a list of those kind of descriptive words you use in your reviews? Perhaps explain the way something sounds when those words apply. Thanks, dude." So I'm actually going to throw a link in the show notes and description to a YouTube video from Chris Curran's Podcast Engineering Show, episode 100, where he does exactly that. He goes through a list of all those auditory descriptive words and demonstrates them. Doesn't just say what they mean. He actually EQs his microphone to illustrate what that would sound like. And it is insanely useful. And I will have the timestamp in the link, but if it doesn't show up, it's at 20 minutes and 50 seconds around there where it starts. Now, I did get asked this a few months ago by Ali in the Discord server, and I had planned on doing it. And then I heard this from Chris, and I said, "Oh, he did it so well. I feel like I'd be copying him directly if I did that." So maybe in the future I will end up doing this, but I feel like I would need to go ahead and bow down to the throne of the Podcast Engineering Show and say, "Please, sir, may I have another? Please, sir, may I have your blessing to copy your content?" Because at this point, that's what it would be doing, even though it's been in my FAQ for a couple of months at this point. But eventually, yeah, and I will link that because Chris did such an amazing job. And if you are a podcaster or you're interested in audio and you don't subscribe to Podcast Engineering Show, get on it. What are you doing? And same goes for Soundspeeds. If you're into audio and you don't follow Soundspeeds on YouTube, get on it. What are you doing? Good question. And the last email comes from Alibaba. He says, "Dear Bandrew, my Samsung C01u Pro sounds slightly on the high end. Is that normal? I have watched your review, but I can't tell the difference. To your ears, does it sound higher pitched compared to a flatter microphone, say the Rode NT1? Absolutely. The C01u Pro is much brighter. It has a boost in the high end compared to the NT1, which is a flat, very neutral, very boring microphone to some people, but I love the NT1. It's $240, $270 though, So there's quite a price difference because then you also have to get an interface. So it really does come down to personal preference if you like the big boost in the higher end, or if you want the flatter, more neutral sound of the NT1, which I personally would 100% prefer. I love the NT1. And that's actually going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Again, you want to see previous episodes, bandrewsays.com. Want to check out what I am personally working on, bandrewscott.com. And go ahead and follow me on Twitter at BandrewSays. I think that's enough calls to action. I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production, your executive producer of Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.